Hi, my name's Jason Guthrie. I graduated from high school in 91 and then went to Ohio University in Athens the following year as a music major. But after 1 year, I was not very focused and I was living in rural Ohio and didn't want to live there. So the military seemed like the best option for someone like me at the time. I thought, well, I can at least do this and then go back to college afterward. That was kind of like the way I was gaming it out in my head, was see the world without having to pay and then get an education. And maybe also to clear up whether or not I was gay or not. That was subtext though, because it was kind of just underneath. Because again, I didn't have a clear definition of that for myself yet. My parents, neither one were in the military. My grandfathers both were in. My dad's father was forced during World War II, and he was also in the United States Navy as I ultimately joined. When I was in boot camp, I was a little guy, soaking wet. I was probably like 95 pounds, tiny, and I was surrounded by like football players. So I felt a little out of place. Some people thought I was out of place. And then other people were like, oh no, come over here and hang out with us. You're among your people. So that kind of storyline took place at other places where I was stationed, where people kind of found me. Ultimately, I came out while I was active duty, and it was after I'd gone through boot camp and my A school, where they teach you how to be a yeoman and use your typewriter and do all the rules and regulations that you had to know administratively to do your job. So I went through all of that, and then it was at my first official duty station after all the training where I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gay. So it was, I flippantly will say this to friends, is that I went into the military to not be gay, and they proved that I was. So it was, I can laugh about it, but at the time it was hard. You know, I felt very isolated, and people knew. People weren't clueless. I think there were, for sure, commanders and captains who were watching out for me and saying, well, we're gonna just try and keep you on track here at work, and please be careful when you're not here. So that was because people, I think, were worrying about me a lot because, again, I don't know who I was fooling. During DC, during the Middle East, not really any issues. And then it was my third duty station where things started to go a little off the rails. So I did get hit on by a guy on the base one day, and I was minding my own business. But again, I'm thinking I'm like serving you whatever I was serving, but clearly I was sashaying right through the base exchange. And this guy like just came right up and was like, I think you're cute. And I was like, I don't even know what's happening right now. I'm in the grocery store on base and I'll get in trouble. And so we had kind of a clandestine affair, and it got found out. I brought my friend home, and my roommate came home unexpectedly. Events transpired where my roommate basically went to the command master chief and said, I want a room change. Again, don't ask, don't tell. I think in his own mind, maybe he was trying to do me a favor by not just saying, Jason had some strange man in the room in his bed. And then that escalated to a visit from legal. And so then I had to start going to the legal office, and they were like, so we understand that there was a stranger in your room on such and such date. And this is where don't ask, don't tell gets really gross. They couldn't ask me, is that your boyfriend? Are you gay? Like, they were just like, who's this person in your room? And I just went, deny, 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 deny. I think I went into legal for an interview like 3 times. And third time was the charm, I guess. I snapped. I was like, listen, the guy and I are kind of seeing each other. I'm gay. I like men. I can't deal with y'all and this mess anymore. And of course, everybody's sitting in the room looking at me like, and so it automatically triggered a process. And Uniform Code of Military Justice Article 14 at that time said, you know, if you're gay, you can't be here. Cut and dry. And I told, which violates don't ask, don't tell, but it was under intense pressure, I won't lie. It was bad. You know, I did the stuff, I marched through it, But it was a tough time, and it still affects me. I regularly talk with a superior of mine from when I was in Bahrain, and she kind of helps keep my brain right when I'm struggling in those moments where I'm like, man, why? Her statement to me in response to that was, the United States military failed you. You didn't fail them, they failed you. Their leadership failed you. And so, yeah, that's important for me to remember. I would certainly encourage people in the queer community to still serve in the United States military. For one thing, you're allowed to openly now, and that's super important. Be who you are, love who you are. If you love the United States and want to serve in the United States military, then do it.